What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony Galavese coming at you on a Wednesday afternoon. We're almost a week away from the NFL draft. Are you excited? I know I am. So, what that means is a lot of people out there are doing their own mock drafts. They're putting on their GM cap to see what they can do for their own team. Journalists too, like myself, we're only here guessing or thinking like, okay, what would I do if I'm Tom Telesco? Um, it's always fun to do something like this because you know what? We all know that these mock drafts are not going to turn out how it's going to turn out next Thursday from Detroit. Let's be real here. You know, it's fun to do, yes, but you also got to be serious and just put your GM cap on and say, all right, here's what I need. So the Raiders, they got a lot of holes to fill. Uh, what are they going to do with the first round? We all know that the first round hasn't been so well for the Raiders. It hasn't been friendly, minus drafting Colton Miller, who's turned out to be a stud for the Raiders. We also have Josh Jacobs, who did well, until it. Well, Josh Jacobs was solid, okay, despite what people are saying. So he's no longer with the Raiders. Obviously, he's with the Green Bay Packers. So the Raiders are going to look. They're going to turn to Zamir White most likely, but they're going to have to target a running back at some point in the draft because they need to. Because I mean, yeah, they got some running backs that decided free agencies, free agency, free agency. But this is going to be good. This is going to be interesting draft for the Raiders. What are they going to do? Tom Telesco has a knack for picking players in the first round and so forth. And what is he going to do for the Raiders this time? After spending so many seasons with the Chargers. So the Raiders obviously picked 13th overall in the first round. And so I took a stab at the mock draft, to see how things go. So when it came to my pick, I had one, two, three, four, five, six teams offer me. Uh, they wanted my pick and to give up their picks. Some of this was insulting to me. Uh, like the Niners. Niners offered me a 2025 first round, second round, third round. Are you kidding me, Niners? You think I really want next year? I have needs. I gotta help this roster. I gotta get this roster fixed, especially on offense. We all know the defense is looking pretty good, but my sole focus right now is offense. I don't need future first round pick, second round, third round. So 49ers sent me that trade request. And then you got Kansas City doing the same thing what the Niners did. Only this time they're willing to give up a first round, third round, fifth round in 2025 NFL draft. You think I want to do that? No. Niners, Chiefs? No. No, thank you. The only trade request that I considered was Jacksonville's. According to NFL draft mock database, which I use for this mock draft, they offered me a 17th overall pick. They also offered me a 7th round pick. Then also a 2025 second, fourth, fifth, and 7th round. Well, well, that looks good, but you know what? There was a player on the board that was available when it came to my pick. Who is that? I'll tell you, Joe Alt, offensive tackle. What a stud from Notre Dame. Why not? That's a glaring need that the Raiders need to get and have. Joe Alt, if he's available real life next Thursday from Detroit. If he's available, you select him. No doubt about that. But do I think he's going to be available by the 13th overall pick? Probably not. So But in this draft, I went with Joe Alt because he was available. Second round, you know, my pick was 44 overall. Raiders need a quarterback. Well, not really because they have Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, but you need a franchise quarterback. Whether that be Aiden, who knows? He might go to camp later this year and kick butt and say, "This is my team." Uh, that's possible too. But I had a team that offered me a pretty good picks here. I'll tell you who it is, and I'll tell you what they wanted to give up. The Colts offered a second round, 46 overall pick, third round, fourth round, sixth round, and a 2025 fifth round pick. You know what? I had to. Because the Colts, I mean, that's hard to pass up. And I don't think the Colts want Michael Penix Jr. I don't think he's the guy that they want since they have Anthony Richardson. So why not? So I accepted that trade request. And yeah, they went with the offensive lineman, but they didn't draft Penix. So you know what? I was like, okay, he's still on the board. Then Green Bay comes along, was my pick. They offered me a second round, 50th overall, a fifth round, 169th overall, sixth round, seventh round in 2020. I considered that, but you know what? Penix is there, so is Bo Nix. I gotta pull the trigger on the Colts offer. So I accepted that trade request, declined Green Bay's request, and that trade with the Colts meant Penix is long. Well, no, I take that back. If I accepted Green Bay's request, that would be Penix would be long gone. I can't risk that. So I ended up with Michael Penix with the 46 overall pick. So I covered the covered offense. Went with Joe Alt and Michael Penix Jr. So this is a long process in this draft. You're just trying to figure out, trying to see who's available and what and who's the guys that's going to fit for your team. So my third pick, I had another trade offer when I selected a third round, the 77th overall pick. The Lions offered me some picks, but when it comes down to it, I had to go with Christian Haynes of UConn with the third round, 76th overall pick. So I added Joe Alt and Christian Haynes from offensive line. Hey, that looks pretty good. So why not? And by the way, that was an A+ selection according to NFL Draft database. All right, so my next pick in the fourth round, I want to make sure I got this right. I had 4 trade offers, but let me take that back real quick. Trying to see something here. All right, so with the 82nd overall pick, I went with running back Jalen Wright of Tennessee. That was a B+ selection according to the NFL mock draft database. Two other running backs were available around that pick. Maybe I would have got an A+ if I would have selected Benson or Corum of Michigan. So, I mean, according to NFL.com, Jalen Wright is compared to Melvin Gordon. Well, is he going to turn into a Melvin Gordon? Who knows? But I had to go with Jalen Wright. I needed to. I wanted to. So I can take a lot of slack for that. Go ahead and talk crap. My next pick, though, 112th overall. All right, so Raider receivers as of right now, Davante Adams. So Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers, and trade Tucker. Tucker's a speedster, so you know you get rid of you say by the Renfro, you got Tucker there. But at the 112th overall pick, I went with maybe a shock to you, a receiver. Who is it? Jalen McMillan of Washington Phoenix teammate. I'll tell you guys something about McMillan. I've covered him in high school here in Fresno. That guy has hands. That guy has height. That guy has speed. He's reliable. I like everything about him. That guy is he dominates. He has really good size and hands. And if the Raiders if they make trades and add picks, if Jalen's there, I say pull the trigger. Get a receiver in Jalen McMillan. That guy's a dog. And the other day Max Crosby talked about dogs. This guy's a dog. This guy he's a really good player. Any team that gets him an NFL draft next week, big time steal in my mind because I've seen what he can do and what he did at Selma Memorial in Fresno to Washington. That guy is just a stud. He's good. So that was an A+ selection for me, according to the NFL mock draft database. So I had another pick 5 picks later, and I went with a linebacker. Finally, go on defense. So it wasn't all offense. Not John Gruden. I went with Jeremiah Trotter, linebacker from Clemson. That was an A+ selection. So I was pleased that Trotter was available. That shores up the defense there on the special linebacker. Robert Spillane could teach him a thing or two. Trotter was there. I went with him 5 picks later, only because that Colts trade, added picks through that Colts trade. So I was happy about that. Then at the 148th overall pick, I went with a quarterback. Who? Jarvis Brownlee Jr. of Louisville. Hey, why not? Quarterback, another need for the Raiders defense. I like Jack Jones. I like what they have on defense. But adding Jarvis Brownlee Jr., I just couldn't resist because that guy's really good. And then you guys got to give me some slack over this one. I went back-to-back picks with a quarterback. That would be Jalen Simpson of Auburn. Now, NFL mock draft database gave me a B+ for that selection. Okay, maybe that's a little reach there. But whatever. I was happy with that pick in my mind. So if the Raiders select 2 quarterbacks in the draft by adding picks through trades, hey, more the merrier. 208th overall, I went with Keaton Oladapo, safety from Oregon State. That was an A+. If you want to add a quarterback, you got to add a safety. And I like the Raiders what they've done last year with their guys on defense. They made, again, like I said the other day, a lot of leaps. I was impressed with what I've seen, but adding rookies or adding guys in the draft this year is only going to make them better. And so following up on that Oladapo selection, I went with defensive line from Baylor, Gabe Hall. Christian Wilkins will teach him a thing or two. Always nice to learn from somebody like him, and also Max Crosby. And speaking of Max Crosby, with my final pick in the 7th round, 229th overall, I went with the edge rusher, and that would be Jalex Hunt from Houston Baptist. I don't expect him to, if he's there and the Raiders select him, if I turn into Nostradamus, he doesn't have to play right away. Why? Because you already have Malcolm Kuntz, who just took names last year and just dominated. And then, with Malcolm Kuntz, why would you need have a Hunt go in there and play immediately when you have other guys in front of you? So I'm looking forward to this draft next week. I want to know what you guys pick in your draft. Let's communicate. Let's talk it out. I love you guys looking at my stuff here and on YouTube. I'm only going to get better at this. I'm having fun with this. I'm not going to come out here and spread rumors. That's not what I'm about. But I'll give you my thoughts on whatever's happening out there. Um, kind of like how, Vic Tafer is a good friend of mine, talking about the Raiders. There's noise out there that the Raiders going to select Michael Penix Jr. with the first round pick, 13th overall. So that could happen too. Vic Tafer has some really good sources. So if you haven't seen it, go check out his story. But again, I'm looking forward to this draft next week. I want to know what you guys think. What do you want to see what do you want to see what the Raiders do? And give me some feedback. I want to hear you guys. Before I sign off, please like and subscribe to my YouTube page. I want to grow this sucker out. I want to talk to you guys. I want to have a friendly conversation. I don't want to have any sort of arguments or anything like that. But your Raiders, I feel that they're only going to get better this year, and I believe that. And this draft has a lot of bearing to it, a lot of intrigue. So, again, my name's Anthony Galavis, talking Raiders. Have a great day. Hey guys, this is Anthony Galavis. Take a look at my mock draft, what I did here. Well, since I got an ad there, I want to go ahead and say this this mock draft is sponsored by Jersey Mike's. If you haven't had Jersey Mike's, go try it out. So here's my selections real quick. I was talking about the video earlier. Here it is. Joe Alt, Michael Penix Jr., Christian Hayes, Jenna Wright, Jenna McMillan, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Jarvis Bradley Jr., Jalen Simpson, Keaton Oladapo, Gabe Hall, Jalex Hunt. Take a look at this, though. Remember I said how mock drafts are kind of like weird? You just never know what's going to happen, especially in the NFL draft. J.J. McCarthy to the Bears with the with the first round overall pick. I don't think that's going to happen, fellas. Why? Why would, seriously? And then I look at the rest of the draft in the first round. Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. And then Caleb Williams to the Giants. You know what? If that happens, I'm going to do some handstands. But really don't think that's what's going to happen, to be honest. Here's the rest of the first round in my mock draft, or this computer-generated mock draft, where I pick for the Raiders, but the rest is done by computer. There's Joe Alt. Yeah, so the bottom half of the draft doesn't look too bad. I can see it going that way next year, or next week. Here's the second round. Here's where the Raiders would have picked at 44. The Colts went with the offensive lineman Jackson Powers Johnson, and then 2 picks later, I went with Michael Penix Jr. Then the Giants went with Bo Nix afterwards. So not a bad draft. So we'll see what happens next week. So, anyways, again, my name is Anthony Galavis, coming at you.